policing the police every single day, and doing what the Charlotte County Sun newspaper and local TV stations won't do every single day.
Hey, Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH. Andrew Sheets, reporter for COPWATCH for 8 years and now running for sheriff because I guess you got to make the change from the inside. And this is insane what we just found out, and we've been fighting this for a couple of months now. Lee County Court offers new service to avoid waiting in lobbies for court service. If you have a stalker and or domestic violence, they're literally making you wait in line to file your stalking filing at the court, at Lee County Court. And if they supposedly say they don't have a spot, you got to come back the next day. So they said to fix this, we're going to text you and tell you when you can tell your wife and her husband and quit beating you so you can go file charges, or tell your stalker, please don't shoot me, and then you can come down here and file the charges. This is the most utter stupid bullshit we've ever heard. If you got something ready to file, you fucking file it. I'm sure they're not telling the lawyers to do this shit. Hey, like I said, we're on TikTok time. We always got to do the intro. So anyways, now I can slow down. So this is outrageous, insane. If you have domestic violence, a stalking charge, this court is here in Lee County, 20th Circuit, and they actually make you stand in line to file your stalking and or domestic violence. And if there's not an opening for somebody to see you, they send you away till you come back another day. They literally say, go home and, tell your spouse that you can start beating me again because they can't help me out for today. Or, tell your stalker, go ahead and try to shoot me or whatever else you're going to do. And it is unfucking real. And they said to fix it, we're going to text you when you can come down here and file it. Like I said, what the fuck? I don't think you're telling a lawyer to do that. I don't think you're telling regular people that have regular court shit to do that. Only the people that have stalking and domestic violence. This is supposed to be number one uno fucking thing for the courts to do. And when I told my friends about this that are freedom fighters and lawyers and etc., they were like, what the fuck are you talking about? When you have something ready to file, you file it right there and then. Period. Not, oh my God, we don't have an appointment for you, so come back another day. And now we're going to text you when you can tell your stalker and or spouse to quit beating you. It is outrageous. All the courts everywhere, this is priority fucking number one, but not for Lee County. And why is it a Charlotte County Sheriff, the corrupt ass criminal? He is a criminal, third-degree felony, illegal gun list. Because he's the same kind of way. He doesn't give a shit about you. I will say this, at least Charlotte County, you do go to the front of the line if you have domestic violence or stalking. But of course, the judge on that sucks balls. But anyways, but here in Lee County, you got Marcino and this corrupt-ass bitch, Amira Fox, just dirty as fuck. She literally said that Bill PRUMMELL wasn't guilty of his gun list because a list isn't a list. We are still trying to figure out how to charge her for ethics violation. Jesus. Anyways, these two do not give a shit about domestic violence and stalking in Lee County. They said, if you don't get an appointment, you don't get an appointment. You got to come back another day. Jesus, fuck. I hope you don't get shot or beat again. But have a nice day. Like I said, this is only fucking place I've ever heard of this in Florida. Every other place, you are at the front of the line, period. Not at the back of the line. And so here they did this texting thing because I started blowing the story up when I found out about it. And this is not a fix. I'm going to text you? Are you fucking serious? Is that what you tell lawyers that are filing shit for criminals there? Or their defendants? Whatever the fuck. This is so messed up. Very, very sad. Share this with all your friends. Carmine Marcino, Amira Fox don't give a shit about you. And of course, you already know the Charlotte County Sheriff doesn't give a shit about you either. But at least the court here puts you at the front of the line like the rest of Florida does and the rest of the country. But not in Lee County with Carmine Marcino and Amira Fox. They said, fuck you, get beat, get shot, we don't give a shit.
When we talk about stalking, it might be something we joke about, think is romantic. Maybe it's something we've only seen in movies. But in real life, it's terrifying, psychologically harmful, and it's a crime. Our guest today is here to talk about this important subject that's misunderstood and often something we minimize. Susan Kidder is CEO of Safe Connections. Thank you so much for coming by. I didn't even know January is Stalking Awareness Month. What is it, and why do we need a month to set aside to talk about this?
Well, to elevate awareness so that people understand what stalking is. And stalking is a pattern, and the key word here is pattern. It's a pattern of behavior that targets a specific individual, and that specific individual then feels threatened or intimidated or emotionally distressed because of that stalking behavior.
And where does that cross the line? What would be some of the red flags that this has gone from, oh, someone really cares about me, to this is a crime?
Right. A partner who requires their partner to keep their tracking system on, their GPS locator on their telephone, being followed. And being followed is, you might see someone at the bus stop every day, you might see someone at the gym every day. That's kind of usual and routine. What's not usual or routine or a coincidence is if you see that person when you're at the store, consistently, wherever you're showing up where you are, at the post office, at your place of business. So that is not normal, and that's not routine.
And you're saying things like even gifts or emails, that can even be considered stalking.
Yes,
wow.
Incessant texts and phone calls, wanting to talk with you, know where you are, make contact with you. And part of that's power and control, which is what we've talked about before, abuse of power, and really designed to threaten and intimidate their target.
And I think some of the more overt signs, like damaging your property or even going through your trash, is that one of the signs?
It sure is. Anything that will be something where they can intimidate, threaten, and have their target feel anxiety. Those are all part of stalking behaviors.
So what should someone do if they're experiencing this? I can imagine how scary it must be.
Absolutely, because it tends to escalate. The upstream solution is prevention, like the work that we do at Safe Connections. Someone who is a survivor of stalking, documentation is very, very important. Contact with law enforcement is very important, so you get the paper trail, you have the incident reports, so that when that person is caught, then you have that background.
So should we call police or call the hotline? What do you recommend should be the first thing we do?
Sure, calling law enforcement is always something very important to do, and folks can also call Safe Connections, because we can help them with safety planning and help talk them through what kind of alternatives they have in addressing this.
And they're not going crazy. This is something that's real.
Right.
314-531-2003 is that number. And you say the calls to your hotline are up for stalking?
Yes, they're up 18%
Wow.
last year to this year.
Why is that?
Well, I think that probably the Me Too movement has something to do with that, because that's elevated attention and awareness around stalking, harassment, domestic violence, and sexual violence.
All right. Susan Kidder from Safe Connections, thank you so much. Always great to have you here.
Thank you.
All right. Ever wish?
The first time that Justin punched me, we were fighting. I had made a stupid, irrational, uncalled for comment, which isn't an excuse, but that made him angry. And then he flipped. He was in a different room, and he came barging in and socked me.
That happened in front of your children?
No, it was not in front of the kids.
I have it written down that it possibly was.
No.
Not correct.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I lied. My daughter was in her car seat and she was on the bed. And I'm sorry, I just don't want him to get in trouble. But yeah, my daughter was there. She was sitting on on her bed and strapped in her car seat. Sorry, Dr. Phil, I'm so sorry. I just don't want to lie to him.
Why did you lie? What are you afraid of?
I lied because I don't want Justin in trouble at all for anything that he has ever done to me, because I know he's a good guy. He's an amazing father to both my daughter and my son, who's not his. And if we ever lost him, I don't know what I would do.
You have this knack of getting people to cover for you.
I mean, we haven't really talked about any of this. This has all been like, you know, this is all news to me.
You know, my wife, Robin, is really devoted much of her adult life to the fight against domestic violence. This is very, very important to her. So much so that she developed an entire curriculum called the Aspire Initiative. And it's taught in schools, it's used in churches, individuals can use it. She even created something called the Aspire app, which has been downloaded over 1 million times, that has saved people's lives because it's a way to call for help instantaneously. And one of the things that she does in the Aspire app is talk about what does constitute abuse. And she identifies the reasons people give to justify staying. It was my fault. I got him mad. Robin, that's probably the number one, right? I brought it on, I provoked it.
Yes, they either convince themselves or the abuser convinces them of that. Yes, that's the number one reason.
He apologized, promised it wouldn't happen again. It doesn't happen all the time. I know he loves me and I love him. We have a lot of great times together. I don't want to leave because of the children. I don't have a job. Nobody else wants me. I'm afraid if I leave, he will kill me.
It's like listening to like a voice recording. I mean, besides the last one.
Well, interestingly, we did a comparison.
Of course you did.
It was my fault I got him mad. You said, I said some asinine thing. He apologized, promised it wouldn't happen again. Next day, he couldn't look at me. He felt so bad, he knows it was wrong. It doesn't happen all the time. Has only happened twice. I know he loves me and I love him. I love him. I don't want to leave him. We have a lot of great times together. Well, really not applicable here. I don't want to leave because of the children. He's the best dad I could ever ask for. I don't have a job. You say, I'm financially dependent on him. No one else wants me. I have a horrible fear of abandonment. It's like you're the poster child for excuses for allowing this to continue.
I don't feel like I'm a victim of domestic violence. I'm just gonna stop talking because I'm just gonna go into those excuses.
You never put your hands on a woman in anger for any reason, I don't care what.
Absolutely.
Every year, an estimated 7.5 million Americans are stalked, and that statistic only accounts for the reported cases. Some victims are very hesitant to speak out because they find it hard to get justice. Actress Polly Perrette of the CBS drama NCIS became an advocate for changing ineffective stalking laws after a very personal experience. In a preview of tomorrow's 48 Hours, Erin Moriarty examines the issues surrounding stalking and the women fighting to save lives.
The career of 22-year-old singing sensation Christina Grimmie was exploding.
I really like this song.
From YouTube performances to the big time, TV's The Voice, to concert tours.
You guys are awesome!
And then in 2016, the promising star, while welcoming fans at a meet and greet, was shot dead. The victim of an obsessed fan, a stalker.
She had a stalker in the sense of the modern age that we live in, of celebrities having to put themselves out on social media.
Orlando Police Detective Michael Moreschi.
She had no clue that this man was stalking her over the internet or that she was in any danger at all.
Thanks for listening.
That poor girl with her arms wide open, just heartbreaking.
Do you feel that could be you?
I think every victim feels like that it could be this.
Actress Polly Perrette from the CBS show NCIS says she has been stalked for more than a decade and has found law enforcement sometimes slow to help. Although her stalker has never explicitly threatened her life, she fears what could happen next.
I'm so scared sitting here talking about it, but we can't keep this a secret. We have to get these laws changed. I'm here for other victims.
When it comes to stalking, celebrities get most of the attention, but the majority of cases involve everyday people stalked by someone they know.
Being stalked is like being a prisoner, and it doesn't end.
Peggy is a lawyer and a single mother. Her stalker is a man she dated briefly. After the relationship ended, he began sending her increasingly disturbing emails and voicemails.
I'm going to dedicate my whole life to wrecking yours.
He destroyed everything.
After Christina Grimmie was murdered, it really hit home for me that that could be my reality.
And this is basically the problem.
6 years ago, Lenora Claire, a casting director, met her stalker, Justin Massler.
And a lot of people asking me, says, you're Jesus Christ.
He had a history, having been arrested in 2010 for stalking Ivanka Trump. Lenora says that although she met Justin just once, the havoc he wreaked on her life was ongoing.
Lenora is not like want me to stop contacting her.
I shouldn't be fearful anytime I get a knock at my door, but I am. It's just, will he find me?
Erin Moriarty joins us at the table. The internet really has changed the game when it comes to stalking, and not in a good way.
Oh, totally. In one hand, it has created all these new celebrities, like Christina Grimmie, whose whole career was created on YouTube. But the problem is, you wouldn't open the door to some of these people who stalk, but they come right in your home on the internet.
Yeah. And you don't know you're being stalked.
Well, Christina Grimmie had no idea. He could follow her. I mean, part of the problem was that her whole career depends on followers, so she was actually telling people where she'd be.
Hey, right. Why are the laws not working, Erin?
Well, I think, number one, they're outdated. But as you'll see, I interviewed the stalker who stalked Ivanka Trump and Lenora Claire, and he is able to move from city to city, state to state, use computers in Apple stores or in libraries, and so police can't serve you with a restraining order if you're in another state, or it's more difficult
What does he
to do
it? He loves them? He's crazy? What is it?
Well, he is diagnosed with a mental illness. Most celebrity stalkers are. I think he wants the attention that these other people have.
Very, very scary. Thank you very much, Erin. You can see Erin's special 2-hour report. It's called Stalked. Tomorrow night on 48 Hours. It begins at night, 8 Central, right here on CBS.
This is a shocking video of violence in a Kyrgyz family in Moscow. It was widely shared on social media, prompting swift intervention by the Kyrgyz Foreign Ministry and the arrest of the boy's father. But critics say that back home in Kyrgyzstan, the authorities have been slower to respond to a rising tide of domestic violence amid the coronavirus lockdown.
В целом, женщины даже не обращаются, потому что тотальное недоверие, подкованное годами, годами нереагирования со стороны таких органов, что ничего страшного, завтра помиритесь, или там приходите, когда будут синяки посерьезнее.
Altin Kapalova's Facebook page is filled with stories of domestic abuse. There are also deeply disturbing images. Crisis centres report a twofold increase in calls and say the lockdown is preventing women from reaching safety.
Выгоняли. Буквально в эту пятницу одну женщину выгнали из моего района, которая прибежала ко мне домой. Переночевала один день, пятницу, и уже во время комендантского часа было, и не могла ее никуда отправить. И домой к насильнику вернуть тоже не смогла.
The Health Ministry reported an increase in domestic violence after the first week of the lockdown, leading to extraordinary scenes in Parliament.
Это целое испытание, прям практически борьба за выживание. Что можно сделать? Можно ли сейчас в условиях карантина предусмотреть норму, которая позволяет женщинам выходить из дома при угрозе риска для своей жизни и для здоровья? Можно ли это предусмотреть? Я не знаю, у меня ощущение, что я в пустоту это все говорю. Кто-нибудь мне ответит вообще? Правоохранительные органы.
Neighbouring Kazakhstan has also recorded a dramatic increase in domestic violence. This woman fled to a shelter in Nur Sultan after alleging abuse from her mother-in-law. She does not wish to be named.
Енем ұратын, ұрғанына мен күйеуіме айтатын едім. Сәл шыда, мен мамам осындай, сәл шыдай тұр, квартираға шығамыз деді. Соңғы уақытта уже мен шыдам таусылды. Қыздарымды ұрады, мені ұрады. Қыздарым психологиясы бұзылып жатыр, сол үшін мен кеттім ол жерден. Өтірік сөйлей бастады жаңағы.
The shelter is now full and volunteers are renting apartments to house other victims.
Для сравнения, если мы раньше консультировали каждый день, но в кризисный центр экстренной ситуации размещали там до 5 женщин в месяц, то сейчас мы взяли 11 женщин за неполные 2 недели. И это 11 женщин с детьми.
Central Asian countries had poor records on women's rights even before the coronavirus pandemic. Now it seems that a bad situation is getting much worse.
Hey, Sheriff County, this is Sheriff County COPWATCH. I am using any video here with under fair use if you have criticism, reporting, teaching, etc. And please donate. I do not make money from YouTube, and there are different ways to donate in the video links. Thanks.